Hello and welcome to Peaches and Suits, a podcast where two useless lesbians attempt to talk about all of the ladies and soap operas that have driven us mad over the years, in a coherent manner, possibly.
I don't know. 506?
What? What?
Carla von Lahnstein? So.
Ah.
Y juntas somos Mercedes.
Lexa and I... Lexa. Oh my fucking God.
This is part 2 of our discussion of The Married Woman. Please listen to part 1 first for maximum gayness. And as we said in the last episode, this is covering the whole show, tons of spoilers, alert, alert. If you haven't seen it, definitely go watch it before listening to this, unless, you like to be spoiled. So now that I've brought up Imagine Me and You, there's a couple of other things that I was thinking of as I was watching this, just moments that flash into my mind. So, at the wedding where the kids are getting married, they're not kids, they're like 20, but they keep calling them kids. So when they're getting married, Astha goes and calls her mom, who I don't think she's even really mentioned her mom aside from, I don't even know if she's mentioned her mom because this is before the scene in the car. So it's before the wedding. She calls her mom and she's like, "Mom, you really should be here. Like, you're not
she
here."
misses her dad.
She misses her dad. She wishes her mom had been there. And you can tell because they set up that scene to show the indifference between her and her mom.
Yeah.
And like, as someone who family is so important to, who like, it was really, I thought also telling about why she is the way she is, why maybe that's why she feels so, it's not just loyalty, but like indebted to Haymont and to like being part of that family that she's built now, because it's like she didn't have it with her mom. If she's not with him and with them, she's not going to get any of that from her mom. I thought that was really good. And it reminds me of Ana from Madre Solo Hay Dos calling her mom in the bathroom. And, Astha only does it once, but like Anna's always trying to connect with her mom, and her mom is just like,
She's just,
do you know what I'm
she's
like,
just sort of touching base with her mum because they still want that someone on their side to speak to, not an in-law, not the husband, but someone hoping, I think it's that hope, isn't it, that they'll understand. But as you say, in both instances with Anna and with Astha, they don't. It's still just questions about the husband. Both mothers are just interested. Oh, the husband, the kids.
Yep.
And it's such a good point to raise, though, because she's looking to not even replicate, even though she did, it sounds like, have a happy childhood. She is trying to, even if she's not appreciated by her in-laws and her husband, at least she's created a setup, a family unit. She has a home. I don't even think her husband understands. He thinks it's about the money and the roof over the head. It just shows how he doesn't understand her. He doesn't know her that well, because that's not what it's about. I think, as you say, it's that comfort. Maybe she must get something from it, obviously.
well,
but
I have this question too, because we don't see really what drives them apart. They were together for 11 years. So whatever happened between their marriage and that 11-year anniversary, they had 2 children, but like, they don't necessarily show what happened. Like, if anything happened at all, it's possible they just slowly fell out of love, right?
Yeah,
like, that's,
I think so,
probably what happened. But it's like, I couldn't tell if the like sex every other Saturday thing was something that they were trying to do to preserve intimacy, or if it was like that they felt like they just had to or something. I'm going to say it was the latter. I think that it was something that they felt like they had to do, because neither of them seemed to be super excited about it. And it's not even in the like, yeah, we both want this, but just like is it even going to feel good to both of you? Like, I didn't really get that he was super into it either. Like,
Well, this is where he fucked up, because she was happy. She was like, even when we get the final time jump and we're in 1991 and and she's like, oh, his hand's behind the sofa. She's excited. Oh, it's
She's
Wednesday.
ready to.
Yeah. Oh, this is different. And I think if he just treated her with some affection or saw her, because he also stopped seeing her as attractive, technically speaking. You know,
he? I don't know.
so
Blind?
she doesn't feel good about herself, innit? And she's
Yeah.
he's not even sexually attracted to me. It's just yeah, we better he's for him, I think it's just another chance to maybe procreate. Great, you know, because he's, as you say, dilly-dallying anyway.
Yeah,
so
didn't he ask her if you're pregnant or something at some point?
maybe.
Was it with the medical papers when she tossed it over? He was like, oh, you're pregnant?
I can't remember.
I don't remember either. God damn.
But
anyway, that's not what I wanted to focus on.
But no, he says about Timsey and I'm not gonna, I don't want to butcher their names, but he says
Modessa?
yeah, like, oh, well, love dies, you know. Yeah, love, yeah, but it's only at the beginning, and then love dies. And she's really looking at him like, that's, like, it hits her. Oh, that's how he feels. So the love thing's just for, what, a few years? Oh, yeah, right at the beginning. And she's talking about marriage. Oh, the first few years is spent in the bed. The next 5 are spent, like, looking after the
Kids.
children. Yeah, and then it's, all shit from there. And I
Who
think
says
that's
that? Who says
Astha.
that?
She's
she
talking
says
to
that.
us. Yeah. Yeah, she's got her measuring tape. It's like right, yeah, at the beginning of the first episode, and she's got to his pajamas, and she's like, oh, well, there goes that. I thought we were going to be, like, you know, making love, and no, he's done. You know, that's the honeymoon period over with. I think he always set out to have a marriage like that, whereas she, as many women, had different ideas and thought, oh, wow, this is great. This is, you know, we're going to love each other for the rest of our lives. This marriage thing is wonderful. You know, even when the children come along, like, happy. But his whole view was, and as I said, like, he's been cheating on her basically the whole, almost like the whole marriage. So it's just been one big lie to her, but she stayed anyway. What a trooper. But so I think, yeah, her ideals were just so different, but you don't necessarily realize that at the time. And then, wow, I suppose that great line she says of, are you really that surprised that I crossed the line, after she's laid out the ways in which she's been neglected or misunderstood, or, you know, he doesn't see her, and that great conversation, what she tries to have with him of, if I died, what would you miss about me? You know, and he always is just cooking, or but he doesn't even appreciate that when he mentions, like, picks up the thing and he's like, oh, it's burnt, like, and so you know she's got to go and make another one, you know. And
He brings it up another time too.
Yeah, and yet they're
Later
so
on.
surprised that she strays, really. And it's just because she's a woman. Him cheating is fine, but her but so
Yeah, his reaction to that was such a, like, classic man.
Oh.
Like, don't make this about me. We're talking about you now. You're the one who fucked up. Just because I've been fucking up for years doesn't mean that you get to turn this around and make it about me, how it's my fault. No.
His whole thing is just, he's such a stereotypical bloke, like, and even not, he doesn't even view her love with Peeps as equal to theirs, because he's all, if it was a man, you would be out of this house. And a part of me is thinking, yeah, kick her out. Good, she can go be with Peeps. Go on, yeah, go for it. No, but, you know, because it's a woman, I'm giving you another chance, which is nice. I don't mean that really, but, you know,
No,
but
that's
really he
something
should be just as pissed off. She's cheated. It shouldn't matter whether it's a man or a woman. She's cheated on you.
I actually didn't read the scene that way. I thought that it was both. I think that he does see it as cheating, as evidenced by the fact that he's so upset in the next scene where he's drunk and telling her, don't talk about me. Let's talk about you and how you've done this thing, this horrible thing, you know, and, you know, you're straying or whatever. Yeah, crossing. He's like, you crossed the line. You, like, went.
Yeah. But he's taking her
I think
back.
it's meant to be.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, but he's taking her back, whereas he's insinuating that he wouldn't take her back if it was a man.
I don't know. I mean, maybe that's true. Yeah. But I think that in the times that he said those things, I think he said it because he was trying to make himself feel better. Like, at least I wasn't cheated on with a man, you know? Like, I don't know if he would have put too much thought. I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't know. It was interesting, though. I think you're right. I think it lends to him being this, like, sort of macho stereotype, which is like, he literally is like a little fucking marshmallow. Like, he has no personality. He is clearly not intelligent. He is just so boring and soft. Like,
Mr. Toilet Seat.
Mr. Toilet Seat. It, like, that's his own person. His only personality trait is that he likes toilet seats a lot. It was interesting, you know, unique, but
oh my god, I don't know if it's like that in the book,
yeah.
but it's fucking brilliant. It's like, you know what tickles me when Peeps is round there and she's like, "Oh, I'll use the washroom," and she's so clever, that whole scene, getting them to come round to the idea of Timothy and Mudasa being married. So clever. And then when she sees the toilet seat, and she's probably already got a plan in her head of how she's going to win the in-laws round to this marriage. And then, how do you say, is it mashallah? Wonderful. I love the way she says that. And it just, her face when she sees the toilet seat with the shells like embedded in it, whatever he's got going on. I mean, it's a lovely toilet seat, but
she's like, "Is this Japanese?"
He's
or no, what did she say?
Oh, European,
and he's like, "Japanese." It's Japanese.
But it's just that, as you say, that is his soul. He's more interested in that than his own wife, and yet he's so surprised that like someone else would be attracted to his wife. That she would be.
Everybody's attracted to your wife. Got news for you. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Yeah, they're a marvel. I know we've spoken a lot about him, but
this dude,
yeah, he's hard to avoid. But don't let that put you off. I don't want to put people off it. We haven't actually fangirled probably that much. We've done a good objective critique. Actually,
sure.
We've done, because I could have just sat here and then like basically gone through each of their moments easily. Mm-hmm. I could do your podcast on that.
I kind of want to talk a little bit about how they handle the time and the concept of gender and sexuality. Yeah. Because I think first of all, I didn't know that the book was 20 years earlier than the setting of the show. And obviously we are now in the 21st century, well into it. So the context now I'm assuming would be different as well. But Peeplika says, you know, "I'm not a lesbian. Neither am I heterosexual." I wrote this down. Hold on. "Neither am I heterosexual. I fall in love with the person, not their gender. There are so many boundaries in life. Love doesn't need boundaries." And like later on in the scene, she, I guess, calls herself pansexual. And I'm thinking, I don't think pansexual was an identity in 1991. Yeah, I don't know if that was. I don't think that was appropriately used.
Yeah, I had the same.
I was like, I remember that pansexual existed because of Freud. I mean, I don't know if he coined it, but he definitely pathologized it. And so, like, if people were tossing that word around, it certainly was not in a like reclaimed sort of identity way in the 90s. It was more like pathology, like you would call someone an invert. Like, it's, I don't know, it just felt a little weird to hear it in a like modern context being used like that in 91. And I also was a little confused in that whole scene because of the way that they use the word lesbian. You know, because like, "I'm not a lesbian, neither am I heterosexual." And I was like, okay, I'm on board. I'm following you. And then she's like, "I'm pansexual." And I was like, okay. And then Astha's like, "Listen, I'm not like those types of girls." And she like keeps refusing to use the right words, like queer, or, I mean, obviously she's not going to say queer. Maybe she would, but lesbian. And so Peeplika's trying to get her to say the word lesbian. And she like won't say it. And then she's like, So Astha says specifically, I'm not like you. And Peeplika's like, you can say it, lesbian. And I was like, but you just said you're not a lesbian. I'm confused. Are you a lesbian?
I think for a minute, I think Asta does consider whether she is. I think that's why when she has sex with him again, when he's all vulnerable and all that. And,
that proves to her.
And Pete
she's
says,
not.
"Oh, I think you're bisexual." You know.
Oh, guess you know you're not a lesbian now.
Yeah,
fucked a guy and liked it.
Exactly. So I think that sort of confirms it for her. Not that she was seeking it necessarily, because the scene where she sleeps isn't about that. But I think it is like, oh, I enjoyed it. So no, I'm not wholly a lesbian.
So you think that was more about Astha's identity and not about Peeplika?
Possibly, yeah. Well, as you say,
it just was confusing, is all.
I'm not giving it a lot of thought because, as you say, I'm slightly disregarding it because I just don't think they would have been talking about being pansexual. I'm like you. No way. I just don't buy it. I do think Peeps is pansexual, but I just don't think she would have been using that term. There were a few things with Peeps, but I give the show the benefit of the doubt. Like the whole way she is, her fluidity in a way, I think is a bit too on the nose, like in terms of her way of life and her art and everything. I listened to a podcast. And I think they were Indian people, and they were talking about it, like giving it a review.
Oh, the show.
They review Indian shows, yeah. I can't remember how I found it, but and I listened to that one episode, and they were saying about how, like, her character in 1991, 92 it's a bit too modern, her character, for the time that they thought so. And like with the art, and it's a bit too optimistic of how it would have been for someone in her position, necessarily, like living off her art and I think that's also the same. Not that they mentioned,
to be a woman and be independent in general is very hard. But I think, well, that's not true. I mean, I can't speak specifically to their situation, like where they were, but like women were gaining more independence, I think, probably in the 90s. Oh, yeah. But yeah, well, like, specifically for art India. And like, yeah. I do think it was a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, because early 90s India is not like, say, early 90s in the UK.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, as the same, because they were Indian, I was like, yeah, I already had those sort of thoughts anyway. And hearing from an Indian perspective just made me think, yeah, as you say, and the terminology, maybe I don't know enough. Obviously, I was barely walking like when this show is set. So I don't know enough, but even when I was young, I did never hear the word pansexual. Like, bisexuality was like, oh, what's that? So pansexual would have been like, whoa. Like,
I honestly think like even when I was at university, I very rarely heard pansexual, and I was involved in like LGBTQ activism, and like we did educational workshops and stuff, and I feel like I had barely just started hearing that, and that there were like maybe two people who like were using that term. Yeah, I think it feels to me like a super, super modern term, like not one, definitely not one you would hear in. I mean, it would have been more believable if they had said bisexual for sure. I think but bisexuality was pretty but I think it fits with what you said about her being a bit more modern than maybe what the times were.
But I appreciate it, and I think it goes back to what I said about that they're trying to teach the audience about I think they are. I think they're trying to help people who are ignorant of this is the spectrum. It's not just like gay and straight, I think they were trying to throw it out there. Again, that's what I mean. They're sort of bouncing back and forth, talking about it. And that, you don't even see that often here on Western television, even today. Sometimes. So
I find it interesting too. I've been trying to figure out how to bring this concept of like sexual fluidity and like television specifically in media representation in general, but like we can want both things, right? Like I can appreciate and honor in this case like them going for the modern angle and like trying to educate their viewership by bringing this really modern term, and like clearly she defines it, like she makes it really understandable, you know, even if it's not something that like feels comfortable or people can digest it easily, like it's being put out there and people are like now being what it's normalizing. Anyway, I can say that as well as like I'm a lesbian. Like my sexuality is not fluid. I have always only been attracted to women, like for my whole life. And that will never change. Like, I know that some people say, oh, you know, whatever, like maybe you just whatever. Like, no, like it is actually really important to me. And my identity is very much built around the fact that like my sexuality is not fluid. Like I don't experience changes in that. And telling me that I might is actually kind of offensive. So, it's interesting because I want to see that too. I do like and want, experiences of any kind of non-heterosexual lived experience to be shown. But like I can hold space for both of them for also, you know, women who are sure that they don't want to be with men, like feels incredibly rare to me. I think that this concept of like, you know, women trying to prove that they still like men, like what Astha does, like indirectly or directly, like you said, you know, that wasn't her intention in sleeping with Hemant that night. She wasn't like trying to prove she's not a lesbian, but like it does reinforce that for the audience and for her in retrospect. And it's like, okay, like here we are again. Lesbian's the worst thing you could be.
Yeah. Because I
like
think
not the worst thing, but you know what I mean.
No, I know.
Not to be hyperbolic.
No. It's hard. It is hard to work, especially because obviously we're here speaking just sort of off the cuff, you know, not having. I know we made notes, guys, but it was, but it wasn't this deep, you know. But I think with Peeps, the other thing they had to battle. I totally agree with you, by the way. Yeah, and I think going into this, maybe a part of me expected Peeps to be a full-on lesbian. I don't know why I say full-on. A lesbian is a lesbian, but I say
half
it like
lesbian.
that sometimes. I don't know. What's a half lesbian? I don't know. I don't know.
Mondays,
what I mean by
Wednesdays,
that,
and Fridays on.
part-time. But even in there, you know, she's talking about condoms because she's sleeping after her husband's dead. She's having sex. Yeah. And I think they're even trying to combat this idea of like, don't judge women for being sexually active. Like she's even practicing safe sex. And yet there are people obviously in society, and they're probably referring primarily to, say, Indian society, like judging a woman in her position. She's single, widow, like, yeah, and she's sexually active and safe, and like, what's wrong with that? So I think they also even had that angle to put across.
And I think I appreciated that form of modernity a lot in her character, though. Yeah. I thought that was like, first of all, it was a little a lot. Actually, maybe a little bit too much, but no, I just mean in the modernity thing, like they're trying to show that she's like a forward, what did she call herself? Free thinking, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's great. But like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I think, you know, we forget the 90s were, I don't think the 90s were as backwards necessarily as we recall, or as like the 90s were pretty progressive.
No, I'm putting this down.
It's not it's not a universal thing. Obviously, like I'm speaking from my position as like an American, and you from the UK, and like obviously it's not universal. But the 90s weren't the like 1800s. You know, we're not talking about like an oppressive like it's not.
It's true.
They're not like in the dark ages.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, I was still surprised, even with it being the 90s, that I say, oh, they're talking about divorce, and they're saying, like, even with Timsy, they're like, oh, we'll just have them divorced. I was like, oh, okay, that's great. I was so happy that was a thing, and that's not like, and despite what he said, I say, Asta's not going to be whipped through the streets. Well, I hope she wouldn't be. You know, it's just taboo. It's not illegal. It's just taboo.
Yeah,
Technically, that's how I'm seeing it.
I bet you it is still illegal at that time, though. Honestly,
Yeah,
I bet that it is.
I reckon it is. I know.
I mean, it was still
I'm being
illegal
very
until
hopeful.
like 2003, technically here. So
Oh, yeah. See, whereas here, obviously in UK, it's never been illegal with women. It was
you don't
just
have
taboo.
anti-sodomy laws.
No, it was only for men. They wanted to do it with the women in about 1920, which was very funny because you had the whole Vita Sackville West at the time, and her and her circle of friends would have been very screwed if that passed. But they were worried about women being influenced by the law in itself and having the thought put into their mind of, oh, sex with a woman, and they worried it would
I
catch
like
on.
that.
So
Sounds
they had a
nice.
discussion. Yeah. So
Interesting.
it was
Wow.
discussed in Parliament, but they were like, no. And they stuck with the whole Queen Victoria thing of, oh, women don't do that sort of thing. So, because women don't feel sexual desire. That was the whole.
That's
you
fake.
know, yeah. So, I just don't probably know enough. But it was still, I say, modern enough that, they can go off and be together, and they're just getting on a plane to Paris. You know, it's not like a period drama, and we're stuck with an old automobile or something.
Can I just like? They're in a lockdown, like a political like. They're in a lockdown.
Sorry, present times.
Okay, yeah, right. But how on earth are they going to just go get on a plane? Is that something that they'll just be like, okay, yeah, okay, come on through. You have a plane
Peeps
to
was
catch.
worried about the roads being closed to the airport. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. Maybe she'd have a letter from the French school. You know, like. I got my papers or something. Yeah. Let the homos
seem like
through.
they were. It seems like they were actually pretty lax with security anyway. Like basically,
Right?
there was the
I
one
need to
time where
slow
she just like literally. I'm pretty sure she just like one of the times she went through the blockade. She was like, "I have a very important job," and they were like waving her through, and I was like, "What?" All you have to do is say you have a very important job, and they're like, "Yes, okay, please go ahead." Like.
They wave them through all the time. I need to pick up my wife. Okay, then.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that makes... No, they put up a fight about the wife one. He had to prove it.
It's true. But even the slow cooker, she's holding the thing in her hand. What a great excuse to go and see Peeps, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, we need a
My slow
cooker.
cooker will explode and kill my children if I don't go fuck my girlfriend.
Oh, God. Oh, and I'm going to say, Chaos is right. In terms of Peeps' sexuality and like when she has the guy again, I'm going back to episode 4 and that scene, but I feel like I have to give it a shout out because it cracks me up. She's all she looks so bored actually. He's like kissing her body and whatever. She looks so disinterested, and then when she opens the door to Asta, she's like, oh, we're done, fuck off, bye.
Get out of
She
here.
doesn't even look at him. Her eyes are so honed in on Astha, like from that moment. That's it. I love it. It was so great. And he's just like, what the fuck? She's like, bye.
He's like, will you call? And she was like, no. Yeah, no.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not even fucking listening.
Get the fuck out of here.
Do you mind? I've got to talk about the smell of the rain and shit. So, oh god, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
It still amuses me. A lot about this makes me laugh, really.
Man, episode 4.
Yeah, but
yeah, I actually found myself laughing quite a bit. I think that they've nailed the humor pretty well there.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and like I said to Chaos even before she sort of got further on, don't think that it's a downer. Like from halfway through, they still have plenty of like happy moments between the two of them. It's not like as soon as this shit starts to stir in the pot and people are getting suspicious of Asta's behavior. I like that because I was thinking, oh well, that's it. Like I'm gonna have 6 episodes of like misery or something, but that just shows how scarred I am from previous dramas and soaps. So
yeah, when they okay, so they don't reveal that Babu has seen the kid. I mean, they do. So she's from the beginning. I actually, again, kudos to the showrunners for how they created this kind of tension. is that, you know, Babu's from the beginning telling Heyman, like, I saw them with my own eyes, and everyone's thinking she's crazy. Again, the misogyny here is present. He won't believe his own sister when she's like, your wife was making out with this girl. Like, they were kissing. I saw them with my own eyes. And he's like waving her off like, come on, you're drunk, you're stupid. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And it's like the misogyny of not being believed for her. And also just like, it's not homophobia. It's just like this concept of like women can't be together thing. Like, it wouldn't even occur to him that it could be possible that his wife would kiss this gorgeous woman.
That stalled chaos there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little off track here thinking about how pretty she is. She looks like Nakar. Did you notice that? Just the side profile. God. The side profile.
Yeah, the nose.
Don't think she looks like her. Really, it's the cheekbones and the jawline and the nose. Oh, so beautiful. Her eyebrows. You know what it is? I'm gonna just say it right now. I think that if you have nice eyebrows, I don't even care what the rest of you looks like. You're attractive.
Yeah,
that's what I've come up with.
They have the both of them have two pairs of fantastic eyeballs, right?
Eyeballs.
I'm trying to oh my god, they are
they're very beautiful.
Wow, just stunning. Oh, and that reminds me of something else that really makes me laugh. The whole scene in episode 5 when they're in Asta's bedroom and Asta's trying to prove to her how heterosexual she is, and she's getting out the posters of
this is the love letter. I wrote this.
Bollywood film stars.
Sunil wrote this to me. I'm in love.
Like what attracts her to men?
Yeah, I'm not going to say the exact line, but I do remember what she said. She's like, they're muscles.
Yeah, that's so. Oh my god, it's just brilliant, and that's everything that we've spoken about on this podcast about what we love with the. As you say, it's not really a slow burn, but it still had that.
No, it happened right
feel.
Away. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing how it still had. Maybe that's because we paused it. Both of us have paused it so many times.
No, I think
marinated. But
okay, this is a really good point because there's two different types of things that I like, and they just usually happen to occur together. But the two things are the slow burn, where it's like drawn out, and you see them grow together closer, but it hasn't quite happened. And the second thing is the tension. And I think that usually with the slow burn, you also get the tension, but sometimes right from the get-go, like with this show, when Astha shows up at Peeplika's, I think is it to bring the Ajaz's last paycheck? What's the reason she shows up for the very first time? She's never even, they're not friends. I think it's episode 4. I think it's episode 4.
No, that's 3.
That's 3?
That's the end of 3. Yeah, you saved me. She goes to the gallery. She goes.
Okay, you're right. I'm focusing too much on episode 4 because episode 3, these fuckers don't even know each other. In fact, she was in love with her husband. Like, they don't even know each other, and if they did know each other, they know of each other, and it's like not a good thing, you know? Like,
what a great
you're in love with my husband, and I know you are, and I know you told him you are right before he was brutally blown up and murdered.
Yeah.
And yet they have this fucking sexual tension right in front of it's a painting. And she's like, I see myself in this. And it's this like really depressing painting. It's so good. And that's the thing that I really enjoy is like, even though it happened from the get-go, like right away, they have this friction and this attraction to each other. It's very not subtle. It's not subtle. What's that? How do you describe this feeling? Like, they did it so well.
They did. You're right. And even in that first episode, I tweeted this, that like that first phone call between them, and Peeps is literally saying to her husband, oh, she has a sexy voice. Is she? And she's asking him, because obviously she hasn't seen Astha at this point, doesn't even know her name. And she calls her the pickle aunt, you know. Like,
oh, because she's talking about, she picks up the phone at work.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'll make sure your pickles don't leak next time.
Yeah. Like straight away, I was. That's it. Like that is their only interaction in that first episode. But I was sold. I don't know why. I can't even explain it. As you say, I think it's because their differences in their personalities and like what we've said about them was sort of foretold. It was there even in that brief conversation over the phone. I think, you know, she's there talking about pickles, airtight containers. and there's Peeps just like telling her husband, oh, she sounds sexy. And something just hit me is that she keeps saying to her husband, jealousy comes up a lot in those first episodes, like they're having a joke about it, about Peeps maybe being jealous of his made up attraction to Astha. And she's not jealous. She even says to Astha in that conversation in episode 3 that she's not jealous of Astha's feelings for her husband, but yet she gets jealous of Mr. Toilet Seat sleeping with Astha.
But I think that's what we said earlier, which is that there's the security of Ajaz. Like, I think that because they were married, husband and wife, it wasn't like he was going to leave. I mean, is it really secure because your husband can go fuck off and do what he wants? But like, I think their relationship dynamic was clearly different. His devotion to her was very evident. And with Astha, she doesn't have that security. She doesn't have that commitment, and she doesn't have that sense of permanence. So she can't necessarily relax and like...
I don't think she's used to playing second fiddle either.
Oh, yeah.
I you know, she's not, as you say,
with
going
the
back
kids,
to her
even
insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah.
She's, like Ajaz, it's just her. They don't have children, and he is, as you say, so devoted to her. And then there's Astha, who obviously has to divert her attention elsewhere. And well, she says all she has are these moments. I did like that in the last episode, saying, "I don't have you. He has you. All I have." Oh God, look, my arms are going. I feel like I'm channeling Peeps here. But yeah, I just have these moments with you. That's it. And it is, for that person, I always really feel for the woman who's waiting, say, for the other one to leave the husband, which again, we've seen so many times, and they have to be so patient and
I forget, did you read the Harper Bliss book that I just read?
Oh, I might not have.
No,
At the moment, I am reading Harper, but an older one. Well,
okay.
If You Kiss Me Like That or something.
If You Kiss Me Like That is one of my favorites. So good.
I'm enjoying it.
This book is really, okay, Harper does this trope very well. But this new book is really similar to If You Kiss Me Like That. It's like the mom's friend.
Yes.
Anyway, the reason I brought that up is because it was like this concept of being a married... Gosh, it doesn't have anything to do with this book. I don't know why I'm now thinking of it. But basically, this is such a common thing in any lesbian film, any kind of media, where one of them is married and they're trying to sort of like reconcile that fact in their relationship. The other one always is left exactly what you said. I'm like hanging on moments with you. I beg for crumbs. Beck
and call kind of.
Yeah, I'm here whenever I can get to be with you, but like at the end of the day you go home to him.
Yeah.
Like, where is your home? That's what Peeplika says. Like, I'm trying to get you to like figure out where is your home.
Yeah.
Like, I want your home to be with me. Hello. But like, yeah, I mean, fuck, never have kids because Jesus Christ. Like,
well, you said about the time thing. I only realised with the rewatch that I think it's right at the end. Last thing she says, episode 11, Asta's talking to us, and she says December 1992.
Mm-hmm.
So this has
been a short time. A year.
Oh, I was going to say sort of, longer than I...
Yeah.
Like, if she hadn't have said, would I have thought, oh, it's been a year? I think I would have maybe thought 6 months. I don't know, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I had taken it to be just a little bit less than a year.
Yeah,
like
I know. I was
months.
surprised. Yeah, so Peeps has been hanging on, which I think is realistic, even longer than that, I would have believed. She's got to hang on, as you say, for these moments for how many months? That's a lot to ask of someone. And like you said, that Astha cannot really understand the situation she's in because, the single one just waiting.
Yeah.
I
think you're right. That was the disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah.
That they both didn't understand each other's perspective very much. Or I think that they understood it. They wanted things to be different. Both of them did, but like they didn't have enough empathy for each other's position in that and how they were struggling.
They're trying. Yeah. No, exactly.
My opinion is that I don't think Peeplika made it clear from the beginning how, like, she left. This is one of those things when you're in the beginning of a relationship, it always is like way glossier, and like you're way more forgiving and you're way more understanding and you're way more patient. And I think that it set a false narrative for her character, because she had me believing, you know, Peeplika, maybe she's polyamorous, she is fine with love whoever you love and be with whoever you want to be with, and like she's not going to be tied down, and maybe she's off fucking other people too, like who knows, maybe she's going to fall in love with someone. I didn't know exactly in the beginning like how was their relationship going to look, and then like it became clearer that like, okay, no, Peeplika is going in a like monogamous, she's very much falling for her, like they're in love, and like she's not going to want to share her with Haymon anymore. And that was like, oh, I think maybe, you know, like I was a little bit unsure in the beginning. I think that Astha definitely thought that her partner was going to be more patient than how it ended up being.
I see why she would
even
have
if it was
that.
8 months, you know, like
Yeah.
they didn't have a conversation. Tell your husband, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
when are you
they
gonna tell him? When are you
communicated
gonna-
so
yeah.
well, yeah, but yet this big fundamental part of like, how long is this going to go on for? You know, yeah, Peep said to her, "Oh, I don't expect anything from you."
yeah, she kept saying that, which is like, well, you kind of do, right?
But
you
I
kind of
think
do.
she shocked herself a little bit. I don't know. It's hard still, even though they did try to give us some of like Peep's story and how she, you know, how she's the way she is today and her backstory, etc. But I'm missing sort of parts. Not that's a bad thing, because again, they can probably show me that later on, and we'll get to know her better. Because it is still very much Asta's story for me.
Oh yeah,
which
she's
again,
the main
I
character,
love.
right?
No
Don't you think
problem.
she's like,
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, well, it is. Yeah, maybe she surprised herself. I don't know. It was hard to read sometimes because it would just be a shot of her face, but she's not saying anything. You know, say she's just spoken to Asta on the phone, and then you just see her, or it lingers. Because also, someone said about this on Twitter, and they're right, that how many times she watches Asta walk away. You know, like she has to go back home. You know, and I think maybe each time something like that happens, it probably dawns on her, which you do kind of see, as I say, in the acting.
they do have one more conversation about that too. She's like, it's the home conversation where she's like, you know, every time that's great, we're together, and then you leave and you go home. Like, where is your home?
Yeah, that's it. And
because she says, I have to get home.
Yeah,
it's really hard to hear. I can imagine, like,
it's
this
constant.
person you love and you've just had sex and like luxuriated and you're like feeding each other and all of this stuff, and then she's like, I have to get home, and you're like, ugh, like really reality comes crashing down. You're like,
yeah,
this is not your home. You don't live here.
And I do love Peeps's it's when she says like, we're gonna get found out, like it was gonna happen. So I do understand her nudging it, as she says, along, because it is inevitable. And again, how long is she going to wait? I do like that she's like, oh, well, I am getting a different job. I'm going to Paris, and, you know, she's got to live her life. Why? What's she expected to do? Sit there and wallow? But I understand both sides. I say, hopefully they can. I'm excited if there is a second season.
What if there's
and more
not?
turmeric? More turmeric. I think there will be. Yeah, I feel pretty confident about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe
From
stupidly
some
so.
heart
but-
emojis. That's how you've found your confidence.
well, it's also the articles and that, like people saying like this is like breaking records for.
It's being
like,
really well received, right?
Yeah,
Well,
Al Balaji is like.
I've seen some really
Yeah.
shitty comments though on the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen reviews from men who don't get it, but that's because they're straight men and they're Indian, you know, and they don't get it. Like, why would she not stay with her husband, you know, and go into a whole thing about that? I mean, again, yeah, I am so happy it's been so positively received. Yeah, and just in terms of the numbers, even just money wise, obviously they're getting all these viewers because of this one show. And speaking of which, the woman who runs it, who I said to Chaos, I think she's queer. I mean, she's publicly spoken about it, like at the premiere and stuff. Another one of her shows, between a love story between two gay men, has just gone on the same streaming service. So she's on a roll. I think she's all for the gay agenda. This lady, maybe.
Which is this? I think I might have just seen. Someone sent me an interview that was being done with. There was like an interviewer. Kapoor, what's her? I don't remember her first name though.
Ekta Kapoor, I think it is.
And she's the showrunner for this.
Yeah,
and then she pinged my gaydar in the interview.
But there's so many. Oh, okay, yeah. Even with the actresses, there's so many great interviews with them. About to say they're quite lengthy, but they've really and they seem so excited. And I even saw one where Ridhi, I hope I'm probably really butchering it, but she was standing there. It's after the show had premiered, and there was even this advert of the show on the water on this boat thing, and she was so excited, like, oh look, and they're literally asking her about season 2, and she's like, I'm really happy to do so. And she was saying about all the heartfelt messages she's been getting. People are really like pouring their heart out to her, and telling their stories, and so it's also it's meaningful, this show. So I feel like they should feel indebted, like they have to keep going because it's so important.
I'm obviously a lesbian, but I really appreciate, as I said earlier, about this, like watching them kind of like fall out of love. And it seems a little bit like very personal. It's right from the beginning of the show, you get this view into this character's experience of like being happy and maybe having like expectations, like you said, of like what her marriage might be like. She feels love and affection and attraction for this man, and like they're having babies, and like it's such a nice thing. And then you see it just like slowly start to ebb and then fade. And then she's kind of clamoring for it a little bit. Like she makes bids for his attention or his affection, and like is rebuffed. And that's a super relatable, like, doesn't matter who you are. If you've ever been in love for a long period of time, like making bids and being rebuffed is like a part of long-term relationships, and like it's how people handle it and move forward, like, and how people address that makes a difference. And I think in this show, like, they set that up where it could have gone either way, right? She could have made, she could have confronted him and been like, listen, I know you're having these affairs on the side. I'm willing to overlook that. I just want our intimacy back. Like, can you maybe be nicer to me or something?
Oh, yeah. That's all he had to do. I know.
But like, I mean, obviously as a lesbian, no. Let him be an asshole and let him realize, like, let him lose the thing that he lost.
Yeah. Let him be shit.
Yeah. Like, I don't feel sympathy for him at all. But it's just, yeah, I mean, just as a human, that feels like something to me. To watch her experience.
Very well said. Yeah, very well said. Yeah, because it's realistic. It really happens. I say after 11 years or 20 or 30, it really does. I think it would have been interesting as a what if, like if they were happily married, I don't think she would have looked at Ajaz in that way. Like,
certainly
she
not.
Was happily married.
Yeah,
no. But with Peeps, I don't know if she
you think she would have strayed anyway?
Well, not in the same vein
of the Peeplika.
Well, just because, as you say, that gallery scene, when Peeps looks at her, like she's really seeing her, and I think that is still different to anything she would have received at home.
Yeah, even when she was happy, it's not the same as being understood or seen that way. She said that he never was that for her, even when they were really happy.
Exactly. Yeah, even when they were sexually active, and and he was paying her attention. Like, I still think the power of that gaze. I mean that in both ways. how could it be ignored? Like, my God, it would have hit you like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. I think
you know.
that is one of the examples of cheating that it's not even the loveless. So everything's not black and white. But like in a lesbian relationship, and I cannot believe I'm bringing this up, but actually I'm not going to bring it up. I was going to bring up The Kids Are All Right, but I'm not going to. I'm going to bring up Concussion instead. Have you seen Concussion?
Have I? I don't know if I have.
Okay,
actually.
let me go off and then you tell me if it sounds familiar. So it's like this married female, like it's two women married. One of them is more of a stay-at-home mom type character, and one of them is, I think, a doctor. Anyway, they have very little intimacy in their relationship, and it's actually quite similar to the way that Heyman and Astha have kind of become, like, mechanical. And the stay-at-home wife is sort of making bids to build intimacy again, and it doesn't happen. Anyway, the cheating thing that I was going to bring up is that I think it is interesting to me to see how people take that, like, love. It's not lovelessness, because you can still love someone but not have intimacy. You know what I mean? So like you can care for someone, you can have loyalty, you can have loyalty, whatever, but and still feel seen by someone else, and that's what gets you, right? Like if you feel like your partner doesn't understand you or respect you, even if they love you, right? Even if they love you and you're in a committed relationship, but your partner has somehow stopped seeing you, if they ever saw you to begin with, that is something that I think we see in television and media in general that gets women specifically, men, whatever, don't care, but that gets women to want to stray. I don't know if that means that they will, but like it feels like something when you don't feel seen by your partner or anyone in your life, and someone comes in and is like, I understand you. It's really powerful.
I think, no, you're right. And that ties in with, like Astha said about her soul, being seen inside, not just as a commodity or something to own.
Because she can make food for you or...
like a part of his property or something. So it isn't just about the sex. Oh, mind you, sorry, Chaos has just said something really like profound, and I remember
and
something
about
that
the
does
sex.
something that makes me cringe. Oh, but I still enjoy it. So two ways about it is when Astha, I don't know if it's going back and forth. She's saying to us like it was like she was a virgin and she'd lost her virginity to Peeps. And she sort of says this to Peeps as well as us. And Peeps starts singing Madonna's song like a virgin. Oh my God. Oh my God. I was like, no, she didn't. Like, but
I really appreciated that moment, and I especially appreciated it because she sang in key. And usually in movies when they try to do that awkward, like, I'm making a bad joke, it's like out of key. But she was like singing in key, and I was like, this is good. You've done it. This is great.
Yeah.
I laughed.
I thought it was so thrown. Yeah. I still laugh because it was so unexpected for me. Anything that is sort of Western as such is a surprise to me.
That's what surprised you? That didn't surprise me. I actually was thinking, wait, did that song get released yet? And I was like, yeah, it definitely did. Like it was right. It might have even been popular right around that time, actually.
It would have been the 80s. Yeah, I want to say the mid 80s, that song. But no, I totally buy that. They got me with that one. That's fine. Yeah. At least Peeps is still amusing. It's not like she loses all of her fun side of her personality once she's got Astha where she wants her. Sorry. Right, I need to wrap this up.
Should we talk about so this is something I had in the back of my mind. I was like trying to think about, okay, we have obviously the cheating is tied into previous episodes.
I see where she's going. I see where she's going. you know what? I almost thought, should I try and work it out? And then, I didn't.
Mm.
But if you've thought of it, you go.
I actually want to loop back to what you said earlier, which is something about your attraction to both of them and that it's 50-50. I was like thinking to myself, as you said that, I was like, yeah, their relationship seems a little bit more like 50-50. Like, I know Peeplika comes on a bit strong.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it as like a thing that necessarily carries through. I think that she has power bottom potential for sure.
Oh, possibly. Yeah, it's really hard because Asta's not like Teresa with Anna in...
Yeah, Astha doesn't have that like not self-assuredness, but like assertiveness per se.
like
She's a little bit more of an avoidant personality.
Yeah, it's not been like simmering. I mean, it has, but she's not like just gonna burst and like, right, that's like top energy all the way here. You know, this is where I've meant to be all this time, because she's obviously just lays there with her husband.
That's not true.
Yeah,
She tries to get on top of him that one time. I can't believe.
Yeah, and that goes all wrong.
Anyway,
He's so shocked. His face though is like, ugh.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think
I think it is 50-50. You're right.
I don't know about 50-50.
Yeah.
I'm now not agreeing with my own self, which is
I don't know,
on brand.
Maybe they're like maybe they're like Tibet and they're all on the knees and they orgasm at the same time and it's
you know what? I believe that. Yeah. I think
I reckon Asta's a bit cheeky.
You know, and I think that Asta's like, she's always kissing her. Like, I'm going back through their kisses because that's really like, so I think that, so Peeplika's a bit of a tease, which is, you know, well-founded, we know. Tease, sensual, just existence, very flirty, casual touches and stroking the hen and touching whatever, leaning in and sniffing her. Like, loved that, by the way.
Oh, God.
But like, for her to actually, like, you know, she looked shocked when she first kissed her. So we have
my God, I haven't even talked about the push on the chair. Fucking hell, I haven't.
Well, I know, right? Okay. So we have so many examples of her not being the initiator. That's why I'm leaning in this direction. Because I'm like, you know what? I think she definitely wasn't. She's flirty as fuck, but I think she's one of, oh God, am I self-identifying with her? I think I am. Here's what's up. So she's flirty as fuck, but I don't think that she is the person who, if she were a modern lesbian, which she's not a lesbian, if she were a modern queer here today, she wouldn't be the person in the club who was seducing the women. She'd be flirting, and the women would come to her.
Yeah.
Like that's
that's
how I see her.
It's true. Yeah. No, bang on. I agree with you on that.
Well, and the woman did come to her. Anyway, that's why I'm like, oh, you know, maybe. I think that she makes Astha be more assertive.
Yeah, because it's like when you see Astha in Peeps' clothes, like these oversized baggy shirts, I'm like, wow. Like, Astha gives off such a different vibe. As you say, oh God, it's so, and her hair's down and she's all loose and just fancy free and relaxed. You know, she does.
This
she
is
gives
one.
off such a...
You're very into this one scene where she was like eating noodles or something.
She
didn't just wear her shirt.
Two times. I feel like there's like 2 times where she's in her shirt. Yeah, like I don't know. It's because it is. It's just so starkly different to how she always is. Her sari, her hair up, you know, or clipped back or something. Like it's just so. She's just so bare. Even when she's sitting there wrapped up in a blanket, I'm like, wow. You know, she just looks happy. I think that's what it is. That's when I'm most attracted to her, is when she's happy.
I'm most attracted to her when she's wearing any color that's blue. I noticed
both of them should wear blue all the time.
I took screenshots, and every screenshot I have of Astha, she's wearing some kind of blue, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. You know, when they go to that little medical pharmacy thing and Peeps is getting condoms and she asked her if she wore her gift. But she's wearing a light blue, so she looks absolutely stellar. So cute and coy. Yes, wow. Yeah. But anyway, I have to depart.
Oh yeah. See, I'm not going to work today. But
Yeah,
somebody
I have
else
to
is.
get some more sleep.
Oh no.
Yeah. I could talk about also, but we will run out of. I think we've got 10 minutes left of allocated time.
Oh yeah, we've spent it now.
Yeah.
Look at this, 2 hours. Go us. Okay.
But,
So should we?
Yeah.
We'll wrap it up and we'll say,
oh,
if
yes.
you've listened to this, which may or may not be 2-part episode, I think it must be now. We can't do a 2
It's
hour.
gotta be.
Whatever. If you've listened to this, hopefully you've already seen it. But if you haven't, The Married Woman. I think I'll add some links into the podcast episode itself.
We're gonna have to. Yeah.
And like Steph said, the first episode's free. The rest you need to subscribe. They have a couple of different tiers of subscription, so you can do a 3-month subscription. I think is the shortest term. It's I can't do the currency conversions, but like approximately.
Is it $5 something?
It was like $6 American.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for me it was like £3.60 something pence. So yeah, it's God. When you think what you pay for Netflix or something, it's
yeah. I
worth
mean,
it.
it's much less than like, for example, a movie ticket if you could go to a theater these days.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll put the links to that. Go watch that. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Let us know what you
And I
think. I'm
didn't-
really curious. I would love to. I mean, I see some engagement already, and I'm like kind of looking through comments.
I know
but
it's.
yeah. I
Yeah.
really
It's a
liked
shame we
this.
can't have like a thread. Yeah, we can't have like a thread, like in a forum word sort of thing, and people can just sort of
Yeah.
tell us their thoughts and opinions. But yeah, get back to it. Oh yeah, and my Twitter handle is because I say I forgot in episode 2 is StephTWTC.
And I'm at Shippy Chaos.
And tell us how wrong we are if you want. Don't mind.
Yeah. No,
Whatever.
feel free to argue with us.
Yeah, and correct us on things that we're very
Yes.
ignorant about. Yeah. So, but yeah,
Especially-
no, we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm so glad. Thank you to everyone who like made it possible for me to actually finally watch this, and who has
You're
like,
welcome.
been around for the whole ride. It's been only a few days, but it's been really great. It's a great experience. Really enjoyed the show a lot. So
Yeah, I loved it. Yeah,
watch it.
Yeah, yeah. I still don't feel like it's almost like I still haven't finished the series, but maybe I should say because it's only been a few days. So, but it still feels like so fresh. I feel like I haven't taken it all in yet. It's like that's what's been more fun rewatching it. I think. Really, because like today we've managed to talk about one thing for 2 hours. So if that doesn't say something about the show, then
it's worth it.
Yeah, we don't know what we're going to talk about next time. Usual.
Yeah, as usual. Stay tuned, but also don't plan too much.
Yeah, don't plan too much. All right. Bye.
See you next time.